Welcome to the first episode of The Retro Gambler. The game I want to review today is one of my all-time favorites. It came from the desert for the Commodore Amiga. The game was released in the year 1989 by Cinemaware. It's an action-adventure and it's a spin-off of the giant buck science fiction movies from the 1950s and 60s. Let me tell you a little bit about the storyline. The game takes place in the year 1951. A meteorite crashes in the desert, in the Californian desert, outside a little town called Lizard Breath. You're playing Greg Bradley, a geologist who moved into this town a couple of weeks ago, and you want to study the meteorite fragments. And there starts the game. What you don't know at that time is that the meteorite mutated the local ants in this area into 6-meter high super ants, and they wanna destroy the town. About the goal of the game, you have 15 days to collect 4 evidences. The 4 evidences are: you must get a body part of the ants, a fluid of the ants, a recording of the creature's sounds, and also you must get a track of the ants. And when you got those 4, you can convince the mayor of Lizard Breath to contact the National Guard, and he puts you in charge of a local task force and to defend the town. And in the end, to find the nest and the ant queen and destroy both of them before they destroy the town. Why this game is one of my all-time favorites? Well, first of all, the graphics. The graphics back then, they just blew my mind. I mean, Cinemaware did one hell of a job and they raised the graphics to a new level. And I still love the graphics today. They're very pretty and just awesome. Also, the sound. The sound is dark and frightening, and it creates the perfect atmosphere for this game. Then the game was also one of my first games I ever got for the Amiga, and there was also a lucky coincidence because back then, a few days before I got my Amiga and the game, I was watching TV late at night and they played an old black and white horror science fiction movie from the 1950s. It played Formicula. Formicula is the German title. The original was called Them. And yeah, since the first time I saw this movie, I fell in love with this movie. If you haven't seen it, I can only recommend it. And what's funny is I read in the internet that the developers were inspired by this movie to make the game. But for me, Cinemaware did the game for the movie. And it's when you play the game, it's like you play the first part of the movie. And also the professor in this movie who helps the people and the government to fight the ants and to find the nest and destroy the nest and the ant queen and save the world, looks exactly like the professor in the game who helps you to convince the mayor and to find the nest and to destroy the ants and save the world also. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, I can only recommend it to you. And in the end, the gameplay of the game. And let's talk a little bit more about the gameplay. The main part of the game is like in an adventure. You travel from location to location and you talk to the people and try to get the 4 evidences. And about the locations, there are many locations in this game. You have your home, police station, the general hospital, there's a gas station, the university lab, an airport, there is an ore plant, and so on and so on and so on. The university lab is very important because there is the professor, and when you get one of the evidence you send it to the lab and he analyzes them, and after 1 day or 2 you get a research bag, and with the research you can then go to the mayor and try to convince him. There are also action sequences in this game, because it could happen that when you're in the middle of a dialogue that an ant appears nearby and attacks you. From there on, you have a first-person shooter level where you try to shoot the antennas of the ants. And when you made this level, then you come to another level where you see your character from above. It's an aerial view, sorry, and you must fight the ants by foot, and you have grenades and dynamite. When you push the action button a little bit longer, because you play the whole game with the joystick, you can see a menu appears on the bottom of the screen, and it shows you how much ammunition you have of the dynamite and the grenades, and also how much tanks are in this area and how much airstrikes you have, but they only come later in the game. And you also can drive to the local airport and take one of the planes and search from the skies for the ants, and you also can attack the ants from the sky. Then there are knife fights in this game. It could also happen that when you travel from one location to the other, that the local gang hunts you down and they force you to play a game of chicken. Then you have a little car driving level. And in the end, when you're in the nest and you make your way to the ant queen, you run around with a flamethrower. Really cool level. A nice touch of this game is that you can't die in this game. You only die when the 15 days are over. But every time you crash with the plane, you crash with your car, or one of the ant catches you, you wake up in the general hospital. A location which I saw many times in the game. Every time I play this game, actually. When you wake up in the hospital, then you have two choices. The first is you stay, but they only let you leave the hospital until you're fully recovered, and that takes 2 days. But you only have 15 days to complete the game. So there's another option: you can escape the hospital. One really cool level, everyone who played this game and played this level remembers it. And yeah, it's one cool level because you make one step out of your room and every employee in the whole hospital is after you. You must try it for yourself. And yeah, then also you have to sleep in the game. Every day you must manage to sleep about between 8 and 10 hours sleep. If you don't sleep nearly or at least 8 hours, it could happen that when you're on the drive from one location to another, that you fell asleep on the wheel and then back to the hospital because you crash. The game was also developed for other systems too. Like I said, in 1989 for the Commodore Amiga. In 1990 they made a version for the Sega Genesis and the Sega Mega Drive. But it was never released. But if you want, you can download the game from the official Cinemaware site and try to play it on a Genesis or a Mega Drive emulator. In 1991 they released a version for the PC. It's actually the same game, but there are two differences. One is the sound. It's good, but it's not as good as the original, the Amiga version. And the graphics. The graphics are in EGA and they don't look as good as the Amiga version, but it's still a nice game. In 1992 they also made a version for the TurboGrafx 16 CD and the Turbo Duo. I actually got the game a few days ago, and yesterday I managed to play it for the first time because yesterday I was able to get my Turbo Duo from eBay, and what I've seen so far is not very satisfying, but I wanna give it one more chance. Okay, that's all from me. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Take care.